DiJonai Carrington promised revenge. She promised it on camera, she promised it on social media, and she brought her whole following along for the ride. So what happened when the ball actually went up? She shot 3 for 11 and finished with 7 points, while Caitlyn Clark hit a career-high 8 threes right in her face. We're breaking down exactly how a revenge tour turned into the most one-sided beatdown of the season, and how Carrington's own mouth is the reason nobody feels sorry for her right now. Stick around because now, Carrington is throwing a tantrum after Caitlyn Clark and Sophie Cunningham humiliated her on live TV. You won't believe what she said on social media the morning after the game. Did Carrington deserve the embarrassment on national television? Show your love for Caitlyn, Sophie, and the Fever in the comments below.
Caitlyn Clark is the greatest show women's basketball has ever seen. And yes, I'm 100% confident in that take. She is must-see TV. These are her highlights today versus Chicago Sky. And I want you guys to just pay attention to what she's doing on the court. Like, this doesn't even look real. She makes this shit look like NBA 2K. And remember, DiJonai Carrington had this specific game marked on her calendar. Remember what she tweeted on Twitter not too long ago talking about some 823, obviously referencing this game. And she went out here and got 37 dropped on her and her team's head.
Let's go back to August 8th, because that's where all of this actually starts. Fever and Sky are playing, the game gets chippy, and Carrington catches Sophie Cunningham with a clothesline that gets her ejected on the spot. Not a shove, not a hard foul you shake off. An actual clothesline to the neck area. Referees didn't even need to review it twice. Cunningham drops to the floor, the benches get tense, and Carrington walks off knowing exactly what she just did. Carrington didn't stay quiet about it. She hit social media talking about white privilege, framing the whole incident like she's the one who got wronged, and tells everyone this rematch on August 23rd is going to be her revenge game. Not the team's revenge, her revenge. She put her own name on it publicly for the entire league to see and screenshot. So for 2 weeks straight, this stopped being a normal regular season game on the schedule. Fans started calling it a grudge match. Pundits brought it up on every pre-game show, and podcasts spent entire segments breaking down what Carrington might do to back up her own words. Nobody made her say any of this. She's the one who turned a clothesline and an ejection into a public promise, which means every camera in that building on August 23rd was pointed right at her.
Remember when DiJonai Carrington circled this game on her calendar? What was she circling? The day that she was going to be eliminated from the playoffs? That is hilarious. So the Sky had Sydney Taylor try to do that full court press bump thing. Didn't work. They tried to bring in JC Sheldon, DiJonai Carrington. They tried Sydney Colson, and all 4 of them together had 33 points and 11 assists. Caitlyn Clark, one woman, had 37 and 10.
And that's the part that makes this so good, because look at how differently both sides carried themselves heading into the game. Indiana didn't say a word about revenge, didn't clap back online, didn't even really acknowledge Carrington's posts in any real way. Sophie Cunningham, the actual victim of the clothesline, stayed quiet and just showed up to play basketball like a professional. Chicago, meanwhile, let their own player turn the whole build-up into a soap opera, and the rest of the Sky roster got dragged into a storyline they didn't create. Carrington's post didn't just stay in the WNBA bubble either. It got shared across regular sports pages and general news accounts because white privilege and revenge are the kind of words that travel outside basketball circles fast. Suddenly, an August matchup between 2 teams with different playoff situations turns into a talking point on shows that don't normally cover the WNBA at all. Ticket demand jumped. The broadcast got more pre-game attention than a usual Sky Fever game gets, and casual fans who don't watch every week tuned in specifically to see if Carrington could back up what she promised.
This girl almost took Sophie Cunningham's head off. And then when she got ejected for doing something that she should not have done and that she absolutely should have got ejected for, she's gonna go in the locker room and tweet on Threads, white privilege. At the beginning of this video, you can see her tweet at the bottom. No, sweetie, it's not white privilege. That's called being treated fairly.
And that's exactly the trap she built for herself. Because once you tell the entire internet you're getting revenge on a specific night against a specific player, there's no version of that game where people forget what you said. Whatever happened next belonged to her. No excuses, no shifting blame, just the results on the floor speaking for themselves. So did Carrington actually deliver on the revenge she promised the entire league? And what's causing her tantrum? Let's first look at the box score because it answers the question before we even break anything down. 7 points, 3 for 11 shooting. That's it. That's the whole revenge tour, packed into one line that took 2 weeks of trash talk to produce and about 2 hours to erase.
Not much space. Carrington, can they find ways to get it done at this end?
Just take them being number one in pace, patient on this possession. Carrington drives baseline.
Carrington didn't come out passive either. She came out swinging, literally trying to get into Clark's head from possession 1. Extra bumps after the whistle, chirping in her face after made shots, chippy plays away from the ball when she thought the referees weren't watching close enough. This is exactly the version of Carrington everyone expected after the clothesline and the social media posts. Physical, mouthy, trying to turn a basketball game into a street fight.
Without an individual like Boston.
Up by Mitchell, no good. Carrington surveys
Through the course of this offseason.
It's kick for the sky. Carrington looked at it, lets it fly.
Clark's response was to basically ignore her the whole night. No jawing back, no extra shoves. She'd just shake her head, jog back down the floor, and let her game speak for her instead. Taking away the reaction Carrington actually wanted is what made this whole plan fall apart from the jump, because Carrington needed Clark rattled to justify all that talk. And instead, she got a version of Clark who looked bored by the whole thing.
And she even tried it with CeCe in this game, bumping her, trying to get in her head. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get CeCe to get out of character. But it didn't work. She got cooked. And the whole Chicago Sky got cooked. Facts. Caitlyn Clark dominated the Chicago Sky today. Those players looked hopeless guarding CeCe. They tried to send 2, 3 people at her. Nothing, I mean nothing worked. She did it all today. She scored at every level.
And then the threes started falling, right over Carrington's hands, over and over again. This wasn't Clark shooting against a bad closeout once or twice. This was Carrington sprinting out to contest, getting a hand up, and watching the ball go in anyway on repeat, turning her own defensive possessions into a highlight reel for Clark instead of a statement for herself. The more physical Carrington played, the colder her own shooting got. Every possession she spent bumping Clark off the ball or barking after a play was a possession she wasn't spending on her own offense, and it showed up in that 3 for 11 line by the end of the night. You can't be the villain and the hero of the same story if your jumper isn't falling.
So this is why you don't make fun of Caitlyn Clark, start mocking her. Look at, she didn't even flop, she didn't even move her head back, she just got fouled. But Caitlyn Clark just schools her, like multiple times. The first one is like splash in your face. Okay. Watch what she does. This is like 7 straight possessions. She bumps her. She's like, get off of me. You ain't even on my level. I have more points in a half than you have all season.
You could see it in her body language too. Early on, she's talking. She's got that swagger from the preseason posts. She looks like a player ready to make good on her promise. By the second half, that energy is gone, replaced by frustration, hands on her hips, arguing with officials instead of getting back on defense.
Process and getting used to play on the court as a rookie, but she brings a defensive mentality.
That'll be the first personal on DiJonai Carrington, the referee, after that call. You may remember DiJonai Carrington was ejected in the first quarter the last time these two teams played after she was assessed a flagrant 2 against Sophie Cunningham. Clark, another step back 3, yes! And a little bit of passion afterwards.
You love it. This is a
Fever players noticed she was rattled and started hunting her matchup on purpose, attacking her on both ends once they smelled blood in the water. Every time she got switched onto a shooter, Indiana ran something right at her, and every time she brought the ball up, Indiana pressured her right back. The revenge tour Carrington built for herself online ended with a goose egg on the exact stage she picked. And while she was busy chasing a story, Clark was quietly building a stat line the WNBA record book had never seen before. Before the game even tipped off, Clark sat in front of cameras and basically called her own shot. She talked about feeling good, feeling ready, and hinted this was going to be a big one, the kind of thing players say all the time without it actually meaning anything. Except this time it meant everything, because how do you predict a night like this before you've even stepped on the floor?
And I don't think people give CC enough credit for what she's added to her offensive arsenal. And that she still found a way to get her teammates the ball. She was out there dishing. Like I'm talking about, she found Michaela Timpson, all type of passes to Lexi Hall, Kelsey Mitchell, Monique Billings. Everybody eats when Caitlyn Clark is running the show. She keeps everybody involved. Don't you realize anytime these haters come out with these wild takes about Caitlyn Clark, she just comes out and proves them wrong?
Let's get to the actual numbers because they're absurd. 37 points, 10 assists, and a career-high 8 three-pointers, and a chunk of those threes came with Carrington's hand right in her face. Not open looks against a scrambled defense, contested shots against the exact player who spent 2 weeks promising to shut her down. Clark took the coverage Chicago sent at her and turned it into her best shooting night as a pro.
Yet to play in a back-to-back this season, but they go to Timpson early, rattles at home.
It's been a point of intention for Chicago to get it inside.
Clark splits the defense, hangs and scores.
This is a great look by Sydney Taylor.
Clark just had an open runway.
The narrow margins of error.
Timpson lineup earlier this month as Billings intercepts the pass. She's been a bright spot, especially defensively, and just finding.
Here's where the history gets wild. Clark becomes the first player in WNBA history with multiple 35-point, 10-assist games. Not just the first to do it twice in one season, the first to ever do it twice, period, in a league that's been playing for almost 30 years. And it gets deeper than that because this is now her 5th career 30-point, 10-assist game. Only 4 other players in WNBA history have ever put up a 30 and 10 line, and each of them only did it once. Clark alone has more of these games than every other player in league history combined, which means she's not chasing a record anymore. She's building one nobody else is anywhere close to touching.
Clark tees it up. 2 threes for Caitlyn Clark on the evening. Defenders on her and misses that one. Indiana can regain the lead. Clark, another step back 3. Yes! Here comes Caitlyn. Bobbing and weaving the sit down to Billings. Her 5th assist of the game.
This wasn't just volume shooting either. She wasn't chucking threes hoping some would fall. Clark hit off-ball threes coming off screens, pull-up jumpers in transition, and step-backs at the exact moments Chicago needed a stop to get back in the game. Every time the Sky trimmed the lead down to a manageable number, Clark answered with something that killed the run instantly. Go back to that interview and it hits different once you know the final score. She predicted a big night before Carrington ever got the chance to talk trash on the floor, before the Clothesline Revenge Tour even got started for the night. Clark called her own outcome and then went out and delivered it in front of the exact player who promised to stop her.
And with 3:10 to go, the next foul on Chicago will put the Fever at the free throw line. Off glass. Thought it would be a turnover. We play on. Caitlyn behind the back down to Timpson.
On the defensive side, and then does what she needs to offensively.
Clark finding her footing, continues to lead all scores.
Eyes on is Natasha Cloud and Kelsey Mitchell. Those two will go at it.
Meantime, Caitlyn Clark has been getting everything going.
None of this happened in a vacuum either. Indiana as a team hit 18 three-pointers, a franchise record, which means Clark's night came inside a full team effort, not a solo show carrying dead weight around her. And she did all of this on the second night of a back-to-back, without Aaliyah Boston in the lineup, against a defense that had 2 weeks to prepare specifically for her. This is the moment the story stopped being about Carrington's revenge and became about Clark rewriting what a 30-point night even means in this league. And she didn't do it by herself, because the names right below her on the stat sheet made this blowout even worse for Chicago.
She was able to get downfield with that space.
Clark creates space just enough for her.
You are never truly out of the ball game. They know that. She said sometimes we probably hang our hat too much on that because we know.
Caitlyn Clark off the dribble, cold-blooded. It's historic, obviously, and we've got to highlight that, but she wants everyone to know it's not why she plays. She's trying to, deep, from like Michigan? Come on, Sarah.
So how does a game turn into a 23-point blowout when it felt way tighter for 3 quarters? Look at the 4th quarter, because that's where Chicago's season basically ended. Indiana outscored them 30-13 in that final frame, and it wasn't close to fair, with Clark hitting more threes down the stretch and Kelsey Mitchell just refusing to let the sky hang around any longer.
Billings, a little bit of foul trouble with 4 fouls in that first half.
Shot clock, less than 5. Kelsey Mitchell on target. Doesn't take long for Kelsey. Mitchell has been feeling it in this second half. Creates space, and again, 6 triple.
Mitchell finished with 30 points of her own, which stretches her WNBA record to 23 straight games, scoring at least 20. Nobody else in the league is within shouting distance of that streak, and she built it by doing the same thing every single night, getting to her spots and knocking down mid-range shots nobody can take away from her.
Creating those live ball turnovers to flourish in the full-court offense is something that's going to be important.
Talk about turnovers. The 4th one for Chicago. Clark has 2 on her. The one more pass. Oh, heating up!
Lexi Hull had the kind of game that changes how a lot of people talk about this roster, dropping 14 points on 6 of 8 shooting. That's not a role player getting hot for a few minutes. That's a starter-level shooting night from someone who usually gets overlooked when people talk about Indiana's offense. It shows the Fever aren't just Clark and Mitchell carrying dead weight. They've got real depth that shows up when the moment calls for it. Michaela Timpson added 12 points and 9 rebounds, and then delivered the play of the night on defense, a block on Chicago center Camila Cardoso that completely changed the energy in the building. That rejection didn't just stop one possession. It swung momentum hard enough that you could feel the air go out of Chicago's bench right after it happened.
Here, Caitlyn Clark on the drive, so you got Carrington, Cardoso down there on the bottom. Stevens trying to step over to help. That leaves a wide open Timpson in the middle of the floor.
That's just filthy.
Every 3 go through, so it gets scary when she does.
Timpson meeting Cardoso at the summit.
Stephanie White had to get creative up front with Aaliyah Boston out, rotating Mercedes Russell, Monique Billings, and Maisha Hines-Allen to cover the front court minutes without slowing the pace down. That's not a small thing either, because a lot of teams lose their identity when their starting center sits out, and Indiana just kept playing fast and attacking anyway. Chicago's offense never found any rhythm outside of 2 names all night, Natasha Cloud scoring 16 and Azura Stevens adding 14. Everybody else on that roster got either shut down or ignored completely, and when your offense depends on 2 players carrying the whole scoring load, one bad shooting night from either of them sinks the entire team.
Clark goes for 30 and does. The Fever will head back home after this one. They've been on the road for 5 games. Have one more game before that World Cup break. Caitlyn Clark.
Chicago couldn't slow down anybody wearing an Indiana jersey, and that inability sealed their playoff elimination the moment the final buzzer sounded. It wasn't one bad quarter or one cold shooting night, it was a full team getting outplayed at every single position on the floor. Indiana didn't need Carrington's chaos, didn't need drama, didn't need any of the noise she built for 2 weeks leading into this game. They needed role players hitting open shots and Clark setting the tone early, and that's exactly the formula that ended Chicago's season on the spot. And with the game already decided by that point, the real fireworks were still coming, except this time they were about to happen on Carrington's phone instead of the court.
Picking apart Chicago in a lot of different areas.
Reading what the defense gives her. A new career high from the outside. 8 threes for Caitlyn Clark. Could go for a double-double, could go for a 40-piece. I'm stirring the pot here. Clark, dumped down, goes for the double-double.
So what did Carrington actually post the morning after getting run off her own court by 23 points? She went on social media and complained the Fever had a special whistle, like officiating is the reason she shot 3 for 11 and got outscored by the superstar she tried to annoy all night. Blaming the referees after a 30-point loss is a special kind of denial, and Carrington picked that route instead of just owning a bad night. Let's be real about what actually happened on that floor, because it wasn't close enough for officiating to matter. Chicago got dismantled at every position, outscored 30-13 in the fourth quarter alone, and shut down everywhere except 2 players who combined for 30 points total. You don't lose by 23 because of a whistle. You lose by 23 because the other team hit 18 threes and your best player couldn't buy a bucket.
Step back 3 right over DiJonai Carrington. Look, hold that. Hold that. Now you get mad on the other end. Now you're trying to bump her and stuff. And she doesn't really pay it no mind. It's whatever. She just waves it off. I'm cooking y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is too easy. So Caitlyn Clark is now averaging 22.1 points per game this season and 8.2 assists per game this season. She's top 2 in assists and top 3 in points per game.
Fans and pundits jumped on the post within minutes, and none of it was kind. Clips of her special whistle comment got paired with her 3 for 11 shooting line, and the mockery wrote itself without anybody needing to add commentary. People pointed out she watched Clark drop 37 on her personally and still walked away thinking referees were the problem, which tells you everything about how she's processing this loss. Go back to her posts about white privilege and revenge, and this excuse fits the same pattern she's been running the whole time. First, it's white privilege, then it's a revenge promise. Now it's a special whistle, and at no point does any of it involve Carrington looking at her own game. Every explanation points somewhere else, at referees, at Clark, at the league itself, anywhere except the box score with her name on it.
Is actually black privilege because she knows the WNBA won't do a single thing of significance about it. And imagine if the roles were reversed. If Sophie made a comment similar to this, then she'd likely never play again. And actually, we just saw this from Coach Sandy Brondello. She got disciplined for making, I believe, a pretty innocent, maybe, offhand comment about talking about Angel Reese and saying that she's a protected species. She was suspended and disciplined. And I think if that's the standard, then DiJonai should be too.
I think
outlets covering this story started flagging the bigger picture too, connecting the clothesline, the tweet, and now this excuse into one pattern that makes sponsors nervous. A player who ejects herself for a clothesline, promises revenge publicly, then blames referees after getting blown out, isn't building the kind of reputation that keeps endorsement deals rolling in. This isn't a one-time bad look anymore. It's 3 strikes in 1 month, all self-inflicted. Clark didn't say one word about officiating after the game, didn't need to, because 37 points and 8 threes already said everything for her. While Carrington was typing out excuses, Clark was doing interviews about her teammates and the win, acting like a player who expected this outcome the whole time. This is the moment that locked in how people talk about both of them this season. Clark as the disciplined star who lets results speak. Carrington as the cautionary tale about promising something your game can't back up. The tantrum everybody expected from the start finally showed up, and it landed exactly the way anybody who watched that game figured it would. Now Chicago heads into an off-season full of questions, while Indiana keeps rolling straight into the stretch run. Carrington built her whole story around revenge and privilege, and the scoreboard gave its answer. 7 points, 3 for 11 shooting, and a 23-point loss in the game she picked herself. Clark didn't tweet a single word back. She just hit 8 threes, dropped 37 points, and put her name in the record book while Carrington posted about whistles the next morning. Indiana keeps rolling into the stretch run, and Clark's MVP case just got another headline game to point to. Chicago's season is almost over. Indiana's push for a title is just getting started, so stick around, because this fever run is about to get a lot more interesting. Did Carrington deserve the embarrassment on national television? Show your love for Caitlyn, Sophie, and the Fever in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications as we're bringing you all the action and top stories. Click the video on the screen, and we'll see you in the next one.